working on it. So for the register, also we need to do the change both server side and client side. We're first going to create a new function in the server's user the service the server, which is able to handling all the register requests. Going to be app post. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And the URL pattern is /API/register. So let me increase the font size here. Let's go to the user service server. Alright, so we're gonna create a new function for the register. Instead of the old one, we're gonna go using the register user. So it's gonna be app post. The URL pattern is /API/register, and we're gonna call the function register. And the function code is already here. It's a synchronous call, which going to do two things. Firstly, we are getting the user from the request body is the same as before, and then we are using the user model to create user to adding that user to a database. Once we're getting a user, once we send the user to the database, we're going to do the request login. All right. So request a login. We're going to log in that user's information into the cookie, and we're sending out back the user information to the client. All right. So there's one more step. After we add a user to the database, before we're sending the data back to client, we're going to log in the user. We're using the function called the request the login. All right. This is a function from the Pasword, allows us to log in the user information into the cookie. And now the server knows this user is logged in. And if we want to check if the user is logged in or not, by calling the function logged in, it's going to give us a true. It's going to give us the user's information here. Right? This is authenticate that will give us a true. Right, let's say for the server side. Let's restart the server and change make sure there's no error. Yep. Let's also change things into the client side. So we will need to write another function called register. And for the register function, we're going to send out a request to the server to register the user's information. So it's going to be the code here. Going to put that into our client-side service. Client-side services, user service. Have a function for the register. All right. So this function, again, it's just still doing only one thing. We'll first set up the with credentials equal to true. That is for the cross-origin sharing. And then we are sending out the post to the base URL. Actually, let me just create a constant URL, which is equal to that. Make it shorter. Which is equal to that, and send out to this URL. And we'll send out to this URL, and we'll send it out to the user as a parameter as a requester body, and also we'll send out to the options. And once we get the response, just return it. Just make it shorter. Return with the JSON. Right, basically the same thing. And just want to rewrite what I have in here. Right, basically it's the same thing. So it's register the user to the database and also logging user in the Pasword. And once we finish this, we are going to need to refactor the register component. Instead of using the create user function, we're going to using this new register function to register the user. So we're going to go to the component, user, register, and for the register function, instead of using the where is that? Create user, right? We are going to use. Let's remove this one. It's going to be this user service register, right? Takes the user as input. This new user, and then subscribe. In the subscribe, we're going to have this part. So it's going to be, oh, I need to import the share service. Let's import that. Let's say constructor, private shared service, the type of shared service, right? And in here we have a subscribe. Data is type. If that type is a user, we see this share service. The user is equal to the user, and this route navigate the user to the profile, missing quotation marks. And if it is error, we're going to set up this user error. Is equal to true, right? So instead of calling the create user function, we're using the register function. And once we get a response from the server, if we get a user, that means the register is successfully, and we will be able to set up the user in the share service is equal to the user we're getting back from the response, and also we navigate the user to the profile page. Otherwise, we will just set up the error, user error equals to true, right? Yeah, I think that's it. So let's see. Let's test it. Right now. We're going to go to our local 4200 to make sure it is still working. So let's try to register a new user. Let's try to register the user test. Oops, seems like it's not working. Do I get an error here? Nope. What? Oh, username is taken. Maybe I already created a tester before. Let's try to see SHU321. See if that works. Alright, it works. So I already had a test account. So right now, if I go just directly change the URL pattern and change it back to a profile, it should be still able to navigate me through the profile page because the register also logged me in. Yeah, it does. And if I log it out, and I won't be able to go to the profile by changing the URL, it's going to navigate me back to the login page. Yep. So I should be able to log in as the new account is created, SHU321 with a password 123. Yep, it still works. So that's it for the register. We're just adding one step between the sending out the response to the client. So we're firstly adding the user to the database, and then logging in with the passport, yes, and then sending out the user back to the client, right? And that's most things we need to do. The next step is going to be encrypt the passwords. So right now, if we're using the Mongo to checking our password, let's try it. Let's do a Mongo here. Computer today is super slow. Just give me a second. It's frozen. Got. All right, so let's try Mongo. So let's say show DBs. We have a webmaker, so it's going to be db the webmaker, use webmaker, db the webmaker, db the user, the find, the pretty. So those are the user information we have in the database. So you see, the new user just created for the SHU321. The password is just 123. It's just showing here, so which is not secured. Like if someone hacked our database, they will be able to find all the user information here, including both username and password. But like you see, those are users. There are users like with username equals 323, and the password is highly encrypted into some dummy data like we cannot even read. Those are encrypted version of a password, and we will be able to change our password into this format, which is going to help us to prevent someone hack our database. All right. So to do that, we're going to need a new library. It's called Encrypt Node.js. So just copy this line to install it. Oops, not Mongo. I'm going to install that library in here. And while it's installing, we can set things up. So we're going to firstly require that library in our user service, in the server side. So open the file. Right. So we're going to import it at the top. I'm going to create a constant, require. Commit is frozen again. Right, we'll require it. And then we're going to, when we register a user, like when the user is registered, so after the user enters user and password, send out the request to the server. Before we put our the user information into the database, we want to encrypt the password. All right. So before we put out the user information in the database, we're going to do a function called bcreate hash sync in the register function here. Yep. So before we send out data into the database, we're going to encrypt the user password into the encrypted version using the function from the database, from the library. It's called a hash sync. It's going to encrypt the password. All right. It's actually very easy. So after we do that, you will see the user information in the database will be changed. So if we try it again, let's restart the server. So if I try it again to reach this new user, see this time let's create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a username, password, just 111, 111. If I register it, right? Let's check in what we have in the database. So let's do a Mongo. Use webmaker. db the user the find the pretty. You see the password here, 0123. Where's the new user just created? Fine. We're looking for the one with username is equal to 1123. Not 1013 456. Yep. So this is the new user we just created. You see the password is encrypted. Let's try it again. Let's try to create a new one. So this time let's create a new one with username equal to Alice 123 4, and password equal to 111. What password equal to 111? Try to register it. All right, I just register it. So looking for the one with username equal to Alice 1234. See the password. It's not 111 here. It's some data encrypted. Right. This is how we prevent the user information in our database. But like right now, because the password of him is like some dumb data, you won't be able to log in just saying like Alice 1234 and 111, because like it doesn't match our records in our database. In our database, we don't have the 111 for the password. We'll have this one as password. We just copy that, and you will be able to log in. But this is not what we want. We don't want the user to remember their encrypted version of password. So when the user tries to log in, which is using our local strategy, we will instead of finding the user by credentials by the both username and password, we're going to comparing the encrypted password with the encrypted password instead of comparing the normal password with the encrypted password, which is not going to be matched. So in here, we are going to change the local strategies. Right, we're going to have here, instead of checking find the user by credential, we're going to firstly finding the user by only the username. Make sure we have that username in our database. And then we're going to check if this user exists and the password the user put in the login is we encrypt it and make sure it is equal to the password we have in our database. So we're comparing the encrypted version of password with the password we have in the database. If they are matched, we'll allow him to log in. Otherwise, we'll tell him it's not matches our records. Let's try it again. So right now, if I'm trying to log in as Alice 1234 again with the password of 111, it will allow me to log in. Because before we compare the 111 to the password we have in the database, we firstly encrypt the password that the user type in here. Like maybe user type the 111, but we're going to encrypt this 111 and then comparing what we have in the database. See if these two passwords are matched, and then we allows you to log in. Otherwise, we don't. All right. So that's it for the password encrypt. That's really easy, just including the password, the library, and just adding 2 lines of code. And there's one thing to be careful. After you encrypt your password, the user you created before you encrypt the password won't work anymore. The reason is like, for example, if you previously will have Alice account, and I have account 123. It won't. It still work. What? I think I have like more than 123 here. Let's see which one would I have shouldn't. So I forget like how many users I have here, but user.find. Oh yeah, it's a lot. So the user that without encrypted password won't work anymore. Like there's a one called username QQ, password QQ. I don't think that's gonna work. Let's try it. It still work. Why? Might be something wrong here. Did I restart the server? Yeah. Let's make double check. Checking the one with username. Alice. We only have one Alice, and it shouldn't work. Let's try it. Yeah, it's not working. It should display the information. My application is not showing like the not match records right now. It should be something wrong with it. I'm gonna check it, but it shouldn't allow me to log in. So the reason is because it's trying to encrypt my password here and compare the encrypted password with the address I had in the database, which doesn't match at all. So after you encrypt your password, you have to register new users to test it. The old users are not gonna work anymore, right? So you should be careful about that. Register is not working anymore. What? I have some error here. What? Something wrong here. I don't know what's wrong with it. Let's try to load server again. Try to. I think it's logged in. What's the password here? Okay, yeah, 321. So actually it works. Right, so you guys try it by yourself. I think it's gonna work. I don't know why mine just is a little bit broken here, but and it's 1 2 3 4 1 1 1. Yeah, it actually works. All right, so that's it for the encrypted password. And let's try. So the last part we're gonna do is we're gonna add in the administrator to our database. All right, we're gonna add an administrator to our database. So right now, like we don't have administrator, and I don't have some pages only for the administrator. So the last part of the assignment, we are going to adding the admin field for the database, checking if the user who logged in is admin page, is administrator, he is going to be able to go to the page only for him, available for him, and if a login the user who logged in is not administrator, they won't be able to get into that page. All right. So firstly, we are going to change our model user schema here. We're going to add in one more field here. Gonna call it admin, and it is a type of it is a booting, and the default. So if I have the default true here, like when we register a new user, his type going to be the administrator, right? Let's try it. So let's restart the server. Oops, I cannot restart it. Booting, it should be capital B, booting. No server. So if I try to register a new user, let's try to register administrator account. Admin. That's administrator account. Register it. It's already taken. I think I already have an administrator there. Let's try to use the admin 123. This is my administrator account. So if I check a database about that user I have in the database, it's looking for db the user, by the username equal to admin 123. So you see it has an admin field here, which is true. And we know that when this is true, we know this user is admin. Right? And by default, you're gonna have this value, default value to be false. Alright? So when the user logged in, if it's a normal user, it's going. We're gonna treat it as a normal user. We're not gonna think he's an administrator, and we should only have one administrator account here. So right now, if I register any new account, like any new account, it's not login. It's register. And this user, it's admin field. This property admin will be false. But I didn't restart the server. Let's restart the server. So if I create a new user, register a new user, 1 2 3 2 1 1 2 3. One, two, three, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. So this user is not exist. What? Yep. So this user, its admin is false, right? So for all the user who logged in right now, who registered right now is not admin anymore. So we only have one administrator whose account is admin 1 2 3, right? So by having that field, we can check if after the user login, we're gonna check if the user.admin is true, then we'll be able to show the page to him. Otherwise, we don't, right? So we're gonna put checking in the client side. So we're going to generate a new component here, a new page, and we are going to, in app routing, we already have our guard here to checking if the user is logged in, and then we're going to create another guard. Maybe we'll call it admin guard to make sure this is the user who logged in is an administrator, and when he is administrator, we're going to able to to send the user to this page. Otherwise, we're just sending them back to their profile and tell them you're not the administrator. You have no right to go to the page we're trying to show you, right? We can try to do that. Let's firstly create a new component. So we're going to go to source folder, app folder, component folder. Let's generate a new component. It's going to be nggc user list. Let's generate a user list component, which is going to display all the users name in a list. Actually, I want to generate it into the user folder. Let's go to the user folder. Nggc user list. It's really slow today. It's supposed to generate a new component in my user folder. Yep, so I have a user list folder here, and which have a HTML, I have HTS. It's adding to the routing. So we're gonna add in a path to it. Here we're gonna have a path, which is a user / user list, right? And this component is a user list component. Have a comment, separate them. So right now, if I try to go to localhost 4200 user list, it's going to bring me to the user list component. Right? Not found. Is that user? Not. I don't have a user. Just a user list. Right? Just user list. So localhost user list. User list. Right. So user list works. So this is my user list page. And right now, this page is open for everyone to see. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to only allow administrator to see this page. Other people who is not administrator, they shouldn't be able to see this page. All right. So that means we're going to create a new active to checking if the user who logged in is an administrator. Right. It's going to create a new service here. We're going to create in the services folder. We're going to create a new file called admin guard.service client.ts. Right. So let's in the user service, we're gonna create another logged in. We're gonna call it admin logged in, right? Let's copy what I have for the login. Paste it just here. Gonna change the name. Let's call it admin logged in. So we're checking if the login user is administrator or not. So if the user is not equal to 0, and user.admin, right? Admin, if user admin is true, then we know this user is a logged in user. I don't have to we don't have to do this. We just return true. Otherwise, we just navigate the user back to the profile page and return false. Right? So if the user is not equal to 0 and the user.admin is true, we return true. Otherwise, we navigate user to the profile page and return false. This is my admin login. So in the admin guard, the service.server TS, we're going to copy the code from the auth guard and change it, what we have here, to using admin login. Right. The active going to using admin login to checking either the user is the administrator or not. And don't forget to adding that new services into our providers in the app module TS. So let's have an admin guard. It's not able to automatically generate for me. So we're going to have to manually import it. Let's import it here. We're gonna import admin guard from /services admin. Why is it not working? Oh, I forgot to change the file the file name for the admin guard. It's still called auth guard. It's called admin guard. Yep, I forgot to change that. That makes sense. So let's remove that. It should be automatically generated for me. So while I'm typing admin, yep, it's gonna import for me. Cannot find the name admin guard, but they just imported for me. No, let's click that. Import admin guard. Yep, so I import it. Alright, so by doing that, you will be able to using the admin guard in the app routing.ts. Let's import it. Actually, it's going to import for me. So for this page, for the user list page, I want to have a active here. So it only allows active once admin guard is equal to true. Right? In this page, we're not using the auth guard. We're using the admin guard we just created, which is checking if the logged in user is the administrator. So right now, if I try to go this page, and you have a circular dependencies. What? I have something wrong here. Let's check in the file, admin guard. Yeah, I forget to save the file maybe. Right, it works. So if I try right now, if I try to go to the page, user list, and it won't allow me to go there. Right, it won't allow me to go there. Actually, user service admin login is not a function. What? It's not saved my file, I believe. Let's save this file. So if I try to go to the user admin page, user list, yeah, it won't allow me to go there. It will navigate me back to my profile. So if I try to go there again, it won't allow me to go there. It will navigate me back to my profile. So right now, if I log out, log in as my administrator account, admin123, admin. Right now I'm logging as administrator. If I try to go there again, and I will be able to go to that page, right? I mean the user list works page right now. So in this way we will be limit. This page is only available for the administrator to use. You will be able to write anything here, like any sensitive information. For example, you can list all the user information here, but this page is only available for the administrator, right? And maybe you want to give the permissions for the user, like he is only able to to see those some content, right? So we'll like right now we are able to have a page only available for the administrator. But what if I want a button here only available for the user or administrator? How do I do that? So let's try. So in our profile, let's go to the profile HTML. Let's adding a button there. So let's create a button. Actually, let's create a tag. Let's have a router link, which is linking to the user list page we just created. And this is just call it user list. Let's adding some style to it. We're gonna say class is equal to btn outline doc. Just adding some style to it. So let's create a button here. Let's adding some space here. Let's adding a BR. Right, I just create a button here. Like if I click that button, it will navigate me to the user list page. Right, but I only want to show this button for the administrator. Others, I don't want to show it to them. So how do I do it? Well, that's easy because we have the ngIf, right? Like for this button, I can have a ngIf here saying only show this one if user.admin is true. Right? So right now, it's still the administrator can still see this button, but if I log out, logging as another user, for example, I can log in as Anis1234, and the button won't be showing here. Only the administrator can see that button. We also have the same functionality in the mSymple website. So you see, if you log in with a normal user, you won't be able to see this add button here. Allows you to add in a new website assignment. You won't be able to see those edit button. Allows you to edit the assignment. And the same thing for the students. You won't be able to see the grid if you're not admin. But you will be able to see that if you're logging in your own profile, and there's a add button for the grid only for the admin, the edit button only available for the admin, right? Those buttons only for the administrator, and like it's happening everywhere in the resources. If you're logging as administrator, you'll be able to add a new resource, able to edit the old resource, and the same thing for the videos, right? You'll be able to add in the new playlist, or just delete the old one. Those are some buttons only available for the administrator, right? This is also how we do that in the webmaker. If you want to do that, you're going to just using ngIf to check if the logged in user is administrator, and then you will be display this button for him using the ngIf. And this page is only working for the administrator, right? So we do the two things. One is create a new page and using the CatActive function, CatActive feature, to only make it available for the administrator. And also we create a button and using ngIf to limit this button is only available for the administrator. All right. So we are going to stop right here, and this is the last part of this assignment. It's very short, very easy. Just most of the things is just copy and paste. Just to teach you some like very powerful libraries help us to manage our login, register, and password. and also the administrative features. So I will upload the video